Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic today. We've got a great show for you guys today. What we're going to be talking about today is institutional investment in Bitcoin, how it is increasing as time goes by, how institutional investors have actually conquered 3% of the total supply of Bitcoin, accumulating it over the past 6 months. If we include grayscale in there, then we get a little bit more lenient with the timescale, but certainly in recent times, that number has picked up. And we're going to talk about the implications of that. We're going to talk about why that's happening and showcase the new information on where that is. We're also going to be talking about Fidelity and their latest report, where they actually officially now recommend having Bitcoin in your portfolio, Bitcoin as an alternative investment proposal. We'll go over the newsletter today, the report that they put out, and we'll talk about that as well. In addition, we are also going to talk about kind of the latest scuttlebutt, which is OKEX suspending withdrawals across the board for cryptocurrency withdrawals. This is also being fueled by the speculation and kind of the rumor and information, I guess it depends on what you call it, that not the CEO, but one of the members of OKEX was arrested last week. He is the key holder who has the keys to all of this currency. So we're going to break into that and kind of cover that up. But good time to not be trading on OKEX, I suppose. Massive withdrawals in the minutes leading up to their actual announcement that they were suspending withdrawals. So, and then toward the end of the show, we're going to do a tutorial on Mvrv, how to utilize Mvrv, whether it's on Santiment or whether it's on Glassnodes, to get good sentiment information and data for Bitcoin, and how to utilize that to develop trade entry strategies. So talk about that toward the end of the show. And we're also going to kind of circle back around and talk about Taproot a little bit, because I wanted to cover my thoughts a little bit more today, having had a little bit of time to think. So hopefully you guys are doing fantastic. This is, of course, your daily source for everything cryptocurrency markets and personal finance. If you guys have any questions, make sure to drop them in the live chat. And traditional shills, make sure to support the channel if you guys enjoy what we do. You can do that by smashing the like button here on YouTube, or subscribing, becoming a member of the YouTube channel, giving us a follow or a subscription over there on Twitch or DLive. If you got Amazon Prime, you get Twitch for free. All kinds of ways you guys can help out. So let me know in the chat, and let's see who we got in here today. We've got GBU Professor Wally, the man, the myth, the legend, Bob the Builder. We've got Saintsy, Blue Box Territory, Crypto Jack, Kyle Mitchell, David Rice, Wook Chewy. We've got a little bit of it all in here. We got Adachi in here. We've got Alex in here. We've got Philly from Manchester, the Pie Guy, slaughtering a pig over there. How is the weather over in Cottonopolis, my friend? Smiles J, B Kempster, Ron Legato, John Love the Snow. Let's see here. John Loves the Snow. This is a good question. He says, all of these big whales keep buying millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, yet the price keeps falling. Who's selling? Quote, 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 quote. I hope everyone's safe and well. I hope everyone's safe and well. Also, if you recall, there's been a couple situations, and we'll get into this when we talk about the institutional investments entering into Bitcoin and becoming more of a significant thing. One way to look at the situation is just to consider it fundamentally bullish, as in there is more institutional interest. They are putting their money where their mouth is. They are actually accumulating Bitcoin positions, and this is broadly bullish, right? So this is just fundamentally bullish. The other way to look at it, though, as far as timing is, every time it becomes very public that large entities are entering into a position or a particular stock or a particular asset, it tends to not do so well from that moment, almost as if that was that's not really the what's the word I'm looking for? The inside information, right? It's more of the last piece of information so that we can get all of the retail traders in to buy up on the news, whereas our institutional traders exit their positions. If we look at open interest on the CMEs, for example, it doesn't necessarily seem to correlate with that. So I'm not going to try and overthink this one too much. I do just think that it is broadly bullish that we're seeing increased institutional investment in Bitcoin. As to why the price is currently dropping, I guess in the short term, in the midterm right now, I think that's because of where we are moving into Q4. I think that's where we're at with the kind of price level that we're at. That's where we're at with the lack of volatility, and that's overall where we're at with the overall, I think, indecision of the broader market. We've got Jake Rezio as well. Watershed day in corporate finance, as the business community used 2 ears and 1 mouth in posture toward Mancunian commodities whale, Mr. Cotton. Well, you are certainly getting it in over there, my friend. Mr. Unicorn, happy Friday to you. Ale in hand and CC in my eyes. Hopefully the view is acceptable. All right. Yeah, let's pull up some music while we're here. We can do some music today. To try that. Let me know how you guys are doing. What are you guys watching this morning? There we go. Got some tunes going. I like it. Tyler Dukacek, B-Flow. Philly says, is there any indication that this institutional capital is under any orderly disposal, i.e. a steer? Okay, so the way that I'm reading your question here is, do I believe, or do I see any indication that this institutional allocation of capital into Bitcoin is actually just to kind of write off debts in the traditional sector? And here you say, are they coming in to trade or hedge access gains and dynamics of crypto? I think, honestly, I think the main reason why we're seeing this institutional allocation to Bitcoin is because we have institutions waking up to the fact that Bitcoin is the best performing asset of the last decade, that it makes absolute sense to have it in your portfolio, that its hypothetical returns over the next 10 years, even if we get half to a quarter of what we return the last 10 years, just is a no-brainer. And then, of course, you have decreasing certainty in the traditional avenues of things. And the desire to have a currency, to have a monetary system on hand, especially if you're a large company, especially if you're a large corporation, that you can send to anybody you want, anytime you want, with no censorship. So censorship resistant funds, non-fungible funds, these are all, we've been kind of talking and advocating for these things from a individual perspective as to why individuals should adopt Bitcoin. But if it makes sense in the micro, then it makes sense in the macro. So there's even more reason for larger businesses to adopt Bitcoin. And I think they're finally waking up to it. Challenged investor, happy Friday. Do I think crypto markets are more manipulated than precious metals? Yes. A little too dark, isn't it? Bring it down with this one. Yeah, let's try this one. All right, so let's dive in here. Okay, let's give a shout out to our members here. I did want to give a shout out to Mr. Ether, who just posted in the chat. So thank you so much, my friend, for all your help this last week. I really appreciate your activity in the Discord, helping people out. Great member of our community. Thank you very much, Robert. I appreciate that. All right, let's look at some fast stats here real quick. All right. So our fast stats today come courtesy of Mr. Alex here. We've got Bitcoin's market capitalization, as I calculated it this morning, was down about $600 million within the course of about 4 days. So we're looking at about $210.211 billion, down from about 800 million. Longs versus shorts, we're sitting at about 88% long, 12% short. This is far beyond the normal 60-40 or 70-30. And that information comes here from Datamish. All right, longs and USD interest rate. Here we go. So percent longs and percent shorts. Again, 88.82% long, 11.18% short. Mvrv score is 1.46. Let's pull this up from Glassnode. And we're going to be talking about this a little bit later, the Mvrv, how we can utilize this to generate trade entries and trade setups. All right, it's going to make me do the login. Oh, beautiful. Actually, you know what? We have it right over here. So we can just pull it up right. There we go. No accounting for taste. There we go. So we're going to take a look at the Mvrv score here. The Mvrv score lets us know, on average, how profitable are Bitcoin hodlers right now. And the way that it does this is that it calculates the last time coins moved and gauges the price at the time that that coin moved. So based on the time the coin last moved and the price that it was when it last moved, what is the price now? So overall, are people that have purchased into positions, who have moved Bitcoin off of exchanges to their personal wallets, or who have purchased on exchanges, who have purchased, decentralized in a decentralized fashion, are the coins actually sitting in the wallets in profit or not based on when they were last moved? So this is a good handy indicator. We can see that it does call the market reversal here in 2017 quite well, with Mvrv getting into that red danger zone territory. And we haven't really been back there. We did just dip out of the green territory. We've covered this before as a buy signal. But we're going to be looking at the Mvrv ratio in regards to how in profit are individuals and how likely are they to take profit. So this is sentiment analysis. So we do see that the current Mvrv Z score is 1.46. That means that on average, individuals are about half in profit. Mvrv score of 0 would indicate nothing, and -1 would indicate down 100%. All right, nothing to note here though. Current CME expiry, current CME expiration contract is going to be the October 30th, 2020 options and futures. And open interest is showing a little bit of interesting divergence. Let's pull this up. Interesting divergence apparent here. Yeah. Open interest is down from our recent market peak in August. And just slowly grinding its way up through October. So actually open interest is up overall broadly on the week. It is down on the day. Get a smooth 7-day moving average. So over the last 7 days, we can see again, open interest is actually rising. Over the last 14, we are rising as well. Looking at volume here, 7-day moving average indicates that volume is actually moving down in the short term. And over the last 2 weeks, but more so. Yeah, so kind of interesting. I don't really see the divergence. I really see the confirmation here because we do have, oh, I do see it here. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I suppose if we do look in the short term here, we can see a lower, we can see a lower high on open interest, but a higher high on price. Don't really see anything though necessarily to note. One thing that I do want to note though is the futures perpetual funding rate. So ever since we've kind of been consolidating with our funding right here around the median line since kind of the beginning of September, so really for almost 2 months now, you can see the price action has been relatively choppy. We consolidated here, had one pump, and now we're in the process of that kind of second leg up or push up. But again, not very consistent, not very telling funding, not extremely to the long side, not extremely to the short side. So not really indicative of any significant move. So overall, rising open interest, though, down from our peak in the August. All right, let's go over to now, those are fast stats. Let's do our quick Bitcoin technical analysis, and then we'll get into Ethereum, and then we'll actually look at the live trades and how they're doing for us today. All right, here we are in the live scene. Actually get the breaking Bitcoin indicator loaded up. All right, first check in on the weekly. Weekly trend, again, nothing here has dramatically changed. We are still having a bearish doji in the resistance area that we've plotted out, kind of the two horizontal resistance areas between about 11,300 and 11,600. So nothing significant here. Again, we are off the 21 exponential moving average here on the weekly, with our EMAs still moving here to the upside. So overall, I still like this. I can still see the broad outline of continuation, but based on my fundamental analysis and based on the overall, in my opinion, strategic position here, I still remain short and recommend individuals to be in hedge. Now, one thing that I do want to point out here with Minx, let's see here. What had I done? So on the weekly, we have a traditional Minx length of 10. We have a noise line length of 3. So I modified this a little bit from the original to give better signals instead of using 30. 30 is a good look back length for Minx, particularly on the daily and particularly on the hourly and 4 hour. But again, we can see that nice changing the settings as such gives us that kind of just a little bit more confirmation for that trade. Makes the signal smoother to see. And if we want to go ahead and back test this just based off of its line cross signals, we can see the sell signal here. Again, here is, I want to be quite honest. There's the buy signal at the close of the previous weekly. Here's the buy signal here, and here is the sell signal here. Let's see here. And of course, we have the buy signal back here. We delete these lines. El pardon. Those lines right there. We have a very successful trade set up here. We have a very successful short set up here. Let's see, from the entry, there was about a 6 to 7% profit opportunity there. So certainly a TP1. And of course, here we have a 24%, actually almost 25, 26% profit opportunity. Here we catch this 13% candle, but a lot of that is this 12% candle right here. And again, we have the continuation right here. So far, the Minx crosses have been quite accurate, have been quite good. Parallax here on the weekly, actually, I want to show you guys these settings as well. I did set the RSI and CCI length to 30 and 30, and the moving average lengths to 3 and 3 using HL2 and SMA. This just kind of smooths it out a little more on the weekly time frame, but of course you can make the argument that we want to use like the 10 and the lower settings here. But again, pairing a sensitive initiator with an insensitive confirmer is, I think, the best way to build a strategy and put it together. So that's what I've done here. All right. Oh, I wanted to check in, of course, with the Ichimoku on that time frame as well. All right, so Ichimoku is still in the same place where we left it. We are experiencing resistance and rejection from the upper boundary, the Senku Span B of the Ichimoku cloud. We are being supported by the Tenkan here, just as we are by the 21 exponential moving average here on the weekly. What would we want to see? What trade setups would we want to see here? Well, you can take the short from rejection, which is, I think, the most logical setup. And then, of course, you can wait for a daily close above this level. You can try to play a pullback at some degree if you want to do that as well. Get rid of that line right there. I would want to see a nice objective close above 11,600 on the daily time. Other than that, this is expecting that price can move down as low to this twist at 84.62 just based off Ichimoku. So we'll see what kind of follow through we get on that. All right, daily PTP. We are still roughly at the entry price that would have been signaled by this signal right here. Here is the initiation signal, but we do have to wait 2-3 candles before we actually get the price crossing the super trend. Let's double check that with Yeah, so if we actually pair that up with the Hall 60, we actually have a much better entry. You know how familiar this looks? This looks just like this area of the market right here when we were trading it. Back in January of 2020, when we first started off this year, I remember the chop that we were experiencing. We can certainly see that here with the Hall 60. But the Hall 60 would have been a fantastic baseline throughout this area of the market. Giving us that signal right here on this candle. As soon as we close above resistance here, decent volume. We do have to wait one more candle actually to get that OBV confirmation, but everything is right there. And actually, depending on how you're trading this, if you're using the line cross to the upside, here is an initial signal. It's invalidated the next day, but if you would have held on, you could have taken advantage of this small bounce. But then potentially this would have just been a continuation signal, and you would have not needed to wait for that volume confirmation. So anyways, with all that being said, let's take the baselines off here and let's throw super trend back on as we've been utilizing. Super trend is going to have us in this trade until we close below 10,532. If you took that particular long signal, which again, I'm not recommending, pointing that out there. And we are basically at the same price, actually a slightly lower price than you would have for the initial signal. Man, we got some weird music today, huh? All right, looking at our reversal indicators here as well. Of course, kind of the main thing here is that we did just complete a TD setup to the upside. So we do have a perfected 9 count. Doesn't mean we won't complete a 13. Of course, we were already in the midst of a countdown as well. So actually, here is that 8, completed the countdown. We have a completed countdown, a completed setup in conjunction with Ichimoku signaling here a reversal sell signal on the daily time frame. And CM Laguerre, which, by the way, I kind of want to get rid of CM Laguerre because, you know, we've been showcasing that as like a free indicator here for a while. So you guys can go get that one. You know where it is. Let's just switch this back over to ICE. Keep our indicators proprietary. All right. Yeah, and of course, here we have our first color flip. We have our first 1 of 9 following a setup and a countdown with a TD sequential system. And it's really not too surprising. And of course, it's also indicative of just price slumping, drooping over the past 4 days, following up that doji, of course, and we're just getting that follow through right now. So new low on the daily. It looks like, you know, if we're going to close anywhere around here, we're going to get a new low close as well. All right, looking at the hourly here. What do we want to do intraday? Let's check our ISA spot settings here, and actually bring up Minx. So here for the hourly, what we're going to do is we're going to take the signals off for Minx. We are going to do no baseline influences on signals. Actually, we are, excuse me. We're going to do daily time frame. And we're going to do a Hall 60 for daily confirmation. For Minx length, we're actually going to pick 30. Noise line length, we're going to pick 7. And we're going to use -75 as our oversold parameter. Okay. All right. So SMA. Yep, that's good. Although Eller's EMA would be slightly better. What do we got here? We have price just recovering from being oversold. We can actually see that Minx went oversold on this candle and recovered right here, basically at the worst possible area over the last 4 hours. There's 5 hours that you could have gone long, but still, what are we getting right now? We didn't actually get that continuation short signal because we are in negative territory. ISA spot here as well, bottoming out, and we have formed a higher low intraday. So I don't really feel comfortable taking a position intraday today on Bitcoin. If anything, more now than ever, I just want to hold on to my short position and enjoy that. That was the profitable movement today. And I do think that unless we see a good significant sign of strength, so breaking this resistance at 11, let's call it 11,400, then we can get a charge up here to about 11,500 if that's going to be the case and potentially higher. But I really don't think that's going to happen. We'll just have to wait and see. I need to see the signs of strength. So far, we haven't broken down out of this consolidation range, as you guys can see. Kind of the stop loss is really perfect there. Just right on 11,200. Breaking 11,200 is the break to the downside. 11,400 the break to the upside. And looking at the LTFs here, we got here for Bitcoin. So what do we have? Bitcoin pushing up, forming a single print here. We sell off, we come back, back test the previous day's point of control, and immediately sell off quite hard. Today's point of control being 11,289. We did hold that level as support, so we'll see if we hold it again here. That liquidity has been grabbed, and we can pull up something like Bookmap to see where liquidity is in the market. But we could also use High Block as well. A lot of ways to do that. So overall, I'm not going to be recommending an intraday position here, and I am still going to be recommending that individuals hold on to their weekly and daily short position. All right, let's turn our attention to Ethereum real quick. All right, Ethereum on the weekly, quite similar to Bitcoin. The only difference here, and I'll actually put them side by side so we can see. All right, get nice and zoomed in here. The only difference really being the bounce off the 21 exponential moving average is the same. The overall direction of the trend is the same. Here's Bitcoin's weekly doji. And if we take a look at Ethereum on the weekly, again, we see that same behavior, not quite as high of a bounce, and a little bit more negative of a candle here. A little bit more like an inverted hammer candle. So definitely a little bit more concerning here. Save that template. All right, we want CC trend. All right. Ichimoku on the weekly. We got a lot of space to go. We'll open ETH Bitcoin will be a little bit more appropriate. Let's do this on Bitstamp. Yeah, still is going to do the exact same thing. So we're not going to be able to utilize really Ichimoku data here on the weekly. Let's go down to the daily for Mr. Ethereum. See where we're at. Remember that we were above those exponential moving averages on the weekly. On the daily, we do see the daily trend is to the downside and the tightening of our exponential moving averages, as even our 155, our 55 is starting to level off and curl to the downside here. Did we get that? It hasn't happened yet. We haven't had that weekly crossover yet. Remember, we've been in an uptrend since we had that 1355 EMA crossover on the weekly back here in July. And that's still been the case, and we haven't gotten that cross under yet. Kind of the panic area is if we break the 21 exponential moving average here for Bitcoin and for FUSD. That level is 326. So breaking a 326 is kind of the panic area. All right, 4 days of nice downside here on Ethereum as well. Here's Minx calling that sell signal right there, that reversal sell signal on the 13th. Parallax has not flipped to the negative, but here come our EMAs curling down. And we do have an edge-to-edge trade, actually. So Ichimoku is suggesting that we could do an edge-to-edge trade. We actually could have done it over here. Down to Ichimoku Cloud, and we would be utilizing the Kijun as our stop loss. Gives us a nice 1.84 risk-to-reward ratio from the entry about 2 days ago on that Ethereum Ichimoku short. Let's look at overall market structure on the daily here. Not indicative of a massive reversal here. Again, we were almost done with a TD countdown here after this completed 9. So we do have that 13 that really never materialized because we got a 12 and then we started an up count, right? We started an up count. So the countdown will still resume as long as we don't complete a bullish setup here, a buy setup. So that's fine. We did just color flip after a 7. And again, kind of getting that weak sell signal on yesterday's close from ISA spot on Ethereum here as well. Getting a nice almost 3% follow through on the daily. So I do think that The daily certainly looks like it wants to fall more here. I don't like this stair stepping down followed by volume and follow through. 4 hour looks even worse here on Ethereum, and the hourly as well. So probably based on this, the direction to be trading is to the short side, even on the intraday scale here for Ethereum and Bitcoin. All right, let's take a little bit and engage with the chat. And we will also take a look at live trades and trade reviews. All right, so we've got Jordan Stotts asks, new camera angle and desk change? Just a little, just a little. All right, so Philly says, what's a 3-day say? Here for Mr. Bitcoin, let's take a look at what the 3 days does say. We'll do it over here. Three-day here on Mr. Bitcoin. So we've had a fresh candle that just opened up yesterday. Let's see here. Ooh, suffer and suck attack. Didn't update the way. Blue Box Territory asks, what's the TD sequential say on traditional markets? We're going to be taking a look at the SPY as well as the rest of the traditional markets here at about, well, it was supposed to be about 12:45. We're a little bit behind, so say it's 12:45 right now. We're just getting the chat engagement. Probably do that at about maybe 1:20. Yeah, about 1:20. All right, so the 3-day here, sorry. Overall, not too much. The only thing that's shifting here is that the 21 on the weekly is being swapped out for the 55 EMA as support. And again, our EMAs here on the 3-day are actually starting to curl up and support price to the underneath. This would actually be a little bit more bullish than bearish for me. Let's see where the buy signal on the 3-day was. Right here on the candle that opened up on the 6th of October. Bullish cloud here. So Bitcoin actually presented a better trade signal for taking a long that would be in profit right now on the 3-day as opposed to the weekly or the daily. The weekly still remains bearish, unfortunately, the daily more so. Alex says we've got to test 12K. Sir, if there's one thing I've learned, we don't have to do anything. But continue to move to the right. Grab. Thought I could grab that meme. Video block. There we go. There we go. Get rid of him for a little bit. Looking at BNB, yeah, absolutely. Let's look at BNB. So last night at daily close, Alex, this is something that you were interested in. Looking at the weekly, let's just kind of zoom out though and take BNB. So USDT and BNB. All right. Certainly feel like the BTC pair is a little steadier to trade here. So we have the weekly here on BNB, although I think we might want the daily. Look at this. This is just real nice right here. Here's that 1355 EMA crossover on the weekly, signaled right over here on the candle that opened up on the 3rd of August, and just beautiful, man. Still up 34% at current price. And get this set properly at 10 and 3, good. Yep. And Minx even generated this beautiful buy signal here and recommended closing here. I mean, that's a beautiful markup. 28% trade there, or it pulled down. Didn't catch any of this, a little bit too much volatility, but we are going to be getting a BNB weekly Minx crossover here. Parallax has been very bullish territory, has been since the end of July. All right, so now I can show you guys what I'm talking about here. So here's that Minx continuation signal. Here's that 1355 exponential moving average crossover. Actually, it happened here. Sorry, I can move that over. A really good example of just multiple good signals here. And again, we're getting that potential continuation signal now with Parallax in good territory. A little overextended, I would say, than most of the pairs, but again, buy into strength. It's kind of difficult to do sometimes. All right. See, ISIS weekly sell over here. We did get 2 weeks of downside, and we've just kind of color flipped back and forth. We're coming off of a countdown. Nope, here's that completed setup, but we haven't finished the countdown. Maybe that'll happen with a lower high. The TDST line to break here is 33.76 on BNB. Go down to the daily here. So this PTP structure would have signaled for its first trade on the 11th of September, catching this movement to the upside. And then again, let's see here. Here, not the best entry, but no invalidation. And we're able to carry that forward here. So 2 good trades, followed by 2 great trades here. And continuation here. And no, we wouldn't have taken that trade because of the MACD leader confirmer down there. All right. Compare that with BNB. Ooh, that's just about gosh darn perfect, isn't it? Exactly where we found liquidity. You see we found liquidity there too, but that's still pretty cool to see. All right, BNB BTC, kind of same story here. Yeah, trying to reclaim this area. Trying to reclaim this previous area, this previous high. So back in June of 2018, we topped out here. At about not 259. Let's call it about not 26. And after pulling back from that area and pushing up to form a newer high, came back and consolidated at that area a little bit, underdid it, held this area as support, didn't succumb to these depths. Now we're trying to reclaim that previous resistance turn support. Interesting. The weekly told you to get out, actually gave you an opportunity to get in here again on BNB BTC, catching this pretty big move to the upside, and then told you to be out here. We don't have that continuation. ISIS spot is being cautious here. Go down to that daily. So Stellar Lumens looking like a good short, says Philly. We'll take a look here in just a sec. Yeah, this daily worked real good. That 9 setup all the way to a 9 down here, up to a 9, pull back, 5 and 5. I'm not gonna lie. I'll see how BNB BTC does here. If we get a negative close like this, I will probably exit my long position and then try to buy the next pullback. Wait till we round down here because we're just right in the middle here. We've had 1, 2. This is kind of the setup that I like to see if we form that lower high here. But we kind of got to form it here. We come up to test resistance, try again, pull back, test again. If we form that higher low here, kind of above, not 2.6, then I'll feel pretty comfortable about a push for 2.8. All right, with that being said, zoom out here. All right, I wanted to cover, I'm going to cover Filecoin and GVT and Theta and Rep here in just a little bit. But first, it is 12:53, a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay. We're going to take a brief coffee break. Let me get filled up on the coffee. One of these days, I'll let you guys vote for like which cup. We got quite a few different coffee cups here to choose from here today. We've got, Ben got me this one. Super nice guy. Ben's actually going to be en route to the studio today. So we're going to do some cool stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoy the stream upgrades that we do over the weekend. All right, so we're going to take a brief break. When we come back, we're going to be covering Filecoin. We're going to be covering institutional investment in Bitcoin. We're going to be covering the smaller charts as well, such as, the current trades that we have on. So Theta, Augur, Genesis Vision Token. We're going to be talking about institutional investment, Mbrv tutorial, Taproot, and we're also going to talk about OKEX and them suspending withdrawals. So stay tuned, guys. Make sure to smash the like button if you haven't already. You can support us over there on Twitch and DLive as well. Thank you, Good on it, for the subscription over there. And Yorick, thank you so much for your second month as a member over here on YouTube. Highly appreciate the support. All right. Take the music paused just a little bit. And let's actually go see if we can get... I actually can't find that one, unfortunately. We go ATR. We could try running that one, portrait maybe. So anyways, we're going to switch over here. We'll be back in just a few minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Trading Crypto 101. Are you a cryptocurrency trader, investor, or enthusiast? If so, make sure to subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell to never miss an episode. We specialize in educating traders in profitable trading strategy, psychological discipline, and money management. 3 essential components of any successful trading strategy that you will not hear emphasized on other channels. We boast a team of professional traders who come from all walks of life and asset classes to deliver to you the best content possible. Want to know what a good entry and exit is, how to set your stop loss, or how to interpret all this data? Click on any video and let us guide you. We created our community out of a fundamental need we saw in the space to deliver no-nonsense, actionable trading strategies and guidance to a generation of new traders desperate for quality content. After exhausting our public content, if you want help gaining that upper edge in the market, one-on-one assistance in developing your personal trading strategy, access to a community of traders to bolster your market activity, Join our premium trading group, where you'll get access to all the trade setups from our traders and analysts, daily technical and fundamental analysis, custom indicators and strategies, access to our trading course and private Discord community, and much, much more. This is the most volatile and exciting asset class to be involved with and actively trading at this point in time. We'll guide you through it. Welcome to Cracking Cryptocurrency. Trade safely.
All right, we made it. We're back. Hey, that HS is on the camera. That is slightly aggravating. We should probably get rid of that, huh? Let's get rid of that. There we go. It went away. All right. What did I miss, guys? All right, so we were talking about Dago, Ari token. Supposedly it starts at 25 cents. John DZL says, anyone know if we're heading down or up with where Bitcoin is currently at? 11,300 seems to be holding strong. So I certainly still, so today I just completed talking about this, so feel free to rewind a little bit if you want. But I do believe that the position is to the downside. I think the hedges should be held. If we break 11,400, then you could take an intraday long to the upside. But again, you're going to have a good breakout mechanism for it. Overall, I think we need to see a good sign of strength here on the weekly if we're going to be taking longs on Bitcoin again. Overall, I think this is the correct area of the market to be decreasing your altcoin positions, as I've talked about, because I don't think that it's going to be easy holding moving forward. And I think that having that hedge and short on for Bitcoin is going to protect quite a few people. Mr. Unicorn is feeling chilled. I am glad that you are chilled, my friend. Let's see here. What else do we want to look at? We do got the crypto bubblies pulled up here today. Let's go. We've got Uma block stack. Go block stack. Ren Ocean climbing the charts here a little bit. So let's see if we can't get a closer eye on this. So let's go look at, before we do that though, let's go look at the current positions in the premium signal service that we put out yesterday and the day before. All right. So first we're going to have Genesis Vision token. So Genesis Vision token was pretty neat here. So we put this position on, we averaged down into the position, our average entry of about 1185 according to here. On the sheet, on the sheet it is 1188. All right, 1188, 1185 here. So actually, this is the paper trading engine, how it calculated it. So actually the sheet is giving you guys a little bit worse of a price. Now here on the daily, we just barely missed. We had a pretty big pump. Let's look at it on the 5-minute chart here. We had a pretty big pump here on GVT. Again, just to give you guys a recap, the way that we handle this particular position is we dollar cost averaged down into GVT, essentially from here down to here. I did have the TP set just a little too high on this one. So anybody who was using any kind of automated system might have been able to catch that wick to a degree, because that was certainly a beautiful intraday movement, about a 30% push to the upside. And we're right back where we started. However, I will just point out big volume here, decent volume indicating that we actually can make another run to the upside. Now, do I think we're actually going to, push back up here as high? No. So now we have to kind of grapple with price being at 116 and with our entry at 1185. Kind of the best way to have dealt with this would be to have an automatic kind of agent that as soon as price, and I know that Gunbot, for example, can do this. One of the things that it can, I know Wally constantly or commonly says, you know, Gunbot is designed to work the wick for you while you sleep, right? And hold although some individuals might be uncomfortable about talking about working the wick, I think that that's just what's needed on a day like today. So 1185, that puts us currently underwater on the position. If anybody had the opportunity to sell out of that position, that's good. Again, 30% pump. But as the position currently sits, we weren't able to hit that TP, so we'll just wait and watch and see what we're able to do. Ideally, get out at that break even or ride the next push to the upside. But I wouldn't be adding to the position now. I don't like adding to losing. Speaking of losing position. We'll try it. We'll try it. All right, so second trade is going to be the Theta Network short. So, when me and Alex were looking at this, I do feel like we could have been more aggressive shorting here and even here. We have had good follow through. Now we're in a position where when we look at the daily, we're actually a little bit, there's, you guys know that I don't like the mechanics of breakout trades because they offer you a poor risk to reward opportunity generally, as opposed to buying low and selling high, for example. So here we have let's look at the weekly here actually on Theta. On Theta, this does look like a nice reversal. Here's this completed TD setup to the upside, and we do march all the way up. We're on a 6 of 9, but where do we reject from? The TDST line. So I think that Theta has a long ways to go down here if it's going to do this. And if you guys don't think that that can happen with Theta, if you happen to like Theta, well, just look what happened with Crow, right? Let's go look at Crow. Here's Crow USDT. And again, Crow was one of those charts where pretty much from March and really going back to November of 2019, this coin only knew how to go up, right? But not anymore. We're on a 7 of 9 now, almost about to complete a weekly countdown. So still potentially 2 more weeks of sideways or downside. And on the daily, yeah, so on a 5 of 9, indicating that we can have about 3 or 4 more days of downside as well. And rising volume pushing into that. So actually, I think that this is probably a 1, 2, 3. This is probably a buying opportunity on CRO. High risk, but this is going to be the oversold area. We took out liquidity here, here, and here. Got most individuals to sell out. We do have some decent volume on the sell of the downside. Not the volume spike I'd like to see, but I think this would be worth picking up. If we take out this previous high at 0.14116 and then form a higher low, so something that's higher than 0.1350, I actually think this can do well. Zoom in and see if we actually do have a good entry here. 4 hour looks like a pretty gosh darn good entry with bullish divergence. And same here on the hourly with bullish divergence. Get all the way down. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think that's one that you got to go for. About 1%. Yeah, why not? Pro USDT is 1.366. So let's bring out Quadriga. It's our stop and target system right here. Tell us exactly what position size we should put on. Oh, so about 2,050. And let's see, that is half of what I need it to be. So I need that to be divided by half. So let's just say 11,000 for the position size. And we'll just take our calculator and do $11,000 divided by 0.65. 1,000 units, 80,500 units. And we'll set our take profit here at 1,372. Stop loss. 5. Yeah, 2-to-1 on there. Go. Alex, if you're watching the chat, if you would be so kind as to put that trade in on the CC official signal channel, the premium signal, Pro USD. Other position as well, Augur. Talked about Augur. I talked about the large SAC coins being the least worst of the altcoinities. So let's take a look. Obviously trending to the downside on Augur, but if we zoom out, we can see a few interesting things. Go to the weekly so we don't have to draw as many lines. So one thing that I would just want to point out here on rep is we have established the market low here. And again, I think a decent basin of support here again. So we have this nice kind of double bottom action here, establishing this area as liquidity. There was previous resistance. So resistance turned support twice, broached this area. We initially found support, but broke down through. So going to that 1108 area. And I do believe, yes, sir. I did ATR 2, so Quadrigo target 2, so 1-to-1. However, I did use a 1% stop loss. Keep that in mind. Augur here on the weekly is on a 7 of 9 and throwing up bottom feeder signals. We're almost oversold on Isospot, and as you can see, Isospot is starting to curl up here. Let's take a look and see what Minx is suggesting here. Yeah, Minx, in fact, has already given us the reversal buy signal coming out of oversold territory here and here, and then crossing over the signal line there as well. Paralox not oversold. And that fresh weekly 1355. That's the only thing I don't like. So if we can find support here at around 11, just say not 1100, right? We can do that, then we can be placed for a movement up here to 15. It's going to be about a 30% movement, but again, it's not going to abrogate the fact that rep is still in that downtrend. So go to the hourly here. We had entered, not listening to this song. We were at BTC, we entered at 120. Price about 1202, 1203 by this count. So we need price to get up to the 100 EMA here for the recovery. Check out the 4-hour here, see if we're still getting that kind of. There's the ISIS spot signal, the 4-hour 9, and turning around nicely. This is even suggesting bottom feeders, suggesting moving up to 125. Which, if that's the case, allows us to get out of this, if that's as far as we go, with profit. And Filecoin, not recommending a position on that one yet. So that's our GVT, Filecoin. Other trades, Euro Aussie in good profit. Our Forex trades, the dollar Canadian, the dollar Swissy, the pound yen, the pound dollar, the Aussie yen, and the euro pound all doing quite well, as is the euro Aussie, which was the latest trade that we just did. Let's hop back and do a little chat engagement with you, gentlemen. B-Flow says, I should have doubled up on my hedge and take profit at the daily 13, but instead I took a bottom feeder 4-hour long on BTC USDT and got smoked about as soon as I put it on. You know, something that I recommend a lot, and this is, I like trading the BTC USDT perpetual contract on Bybit for this reason, is, you know, you can put both those positions on and then have an invalidation. So that's CRO USDT. I did it on OKEX, but I would just do it on, we can certainly just do it on Binance. Oh, we can't do it on Binance. Oh, Bittrex would be the other supported exchange that we do. Support Binance, Bittrex, Bybit, FTX, Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance US. Other thing you can just do too is just go to crypto.com and buy some Crow. You know, we have recommended that individuals accumulate a couple coins on KuCoin, but we don't really officially support it as far as a signaling service. That's actually how I'm going to do this trade by proxy. You guys got 17 days left to swap your Monaco for your CRO. So we are going to do there we go. Give myself a little piece of that. $20,000 Crow to the upside here. There we go. Crow purchase done. By the way, I got my crypto.com card last night. Show you guys. And this thing is amazing. Yeah, big fan of this. Big fan of this. When I went to the gas station, I made the attendant wait a few moments so I could activate it on my phone, so that I could buy my gasoline with Crow last night. Kimo Zabi says 29 likes out of 63 of us in here. Does that mean that only half of us actually like the content? It could be. It could be. I do it, you know, do it for the love, guys. I do it for the love. All right. Topic one. All right, let's get into our first topic of the day. Enough of this this news rattling. All right. So there we go. Good. All right. Ethereum here. Yeah, so our first topic is going to be institutional investment. Our first topic is going to be institutional investment into Bitcoin, and really kind of what I see and what that really means. So first thing that I want to point out here is, go grab the here's the link, bitcointreasuries.org, and I'll stick this in the chat. So we have seen an increasing wave of institutional investors, notable figures, notable investors, and institutions increase or purchase for the very first time Bitcoin as a hedge, or as for whatever purpose they're buying it for, whether they want it to have a censorship-resistant way to transact funds in the case of a financial crisis, whether they want to get exposure to the best commodity of the last 10 years, whether they want a hedge against inflation or against tyrannical government, which is why I want Bitcoin. Either way, for whatever reason they're doing this. And it's not just the ones that we've covered. So of course we've talked about MicroStrategy. We've talked about Galaxy Digital Holdings and Square. We've talked about Voyager Digital, Riot Blockchain, but there's a lot more. So let's look at the basis price for some of these companies. Advanced Bitcoin Technology, 2 million. Cypherpunk Holdings, 1.6 million. Argo Blockchain, 1.3. Grayscale, 5. So quite a bit. 5 billion there for their cost basis. CoinShare, 770 million. Let's see, we've got the Stone Ridge, which we just covered, $115 million. Riot Blockchain with 7.2 million. Voyager Digital with almost 8 million. Hut 8 Mining Corporation, almost $40 million worth of Bitcoin. And one thing I want to point out here, and this will become relevant when we talk about MBRV later, is look at the today's value for almost all of these individuals that invested. They are up, not a lot, barely any, which indicates to me that they have pretty much that this is the area where they've purchased. Meaning, and that's significant, right? It means that the $10,000 roughly area, right? Put a band of confidence on it, around $1,000 to $2,000 on either side. So $10,000 is considered a fair price, is considered a fair accumulation price for large institutions, publicly traded companies, and institutional investors. What that means is that if we are successfully able, if they're right, and I think they probably are, if we're able to establish this $10,000 as the new low, as the new normal price, right? Price might oscillate, but if we've found a new footing or average median price at around 10,000, that is absolutely fantastic, right? You guys, I got to take you back to 2017. When we broke 3,000, that was massive, right? We broke 5K and it was just straight up 19.9 and 19.7, excuse me. And the idea that after the collapse to 3K, after the push back up to 12, 14 really on that first push up in 2019, the sink back down, the March meltdown, price back at 4K, that we're back up at 10K, and everybody's talking about the $12,000 resistance. But what people are not talking about is the fact that at this price, institutions are willing to invest, meaning that it's a relatively fair price. So before I had talked about $6,000 as the fair market value of Bitcoin, if we're able to just within a year migrate that up to 10,000, that is huge. Absolutely huge progress. It's massive for the hodlers out here. So bitcointreasuries.org. And as you guys can see, they have guapped up almost 3% of the total supply of Bitcoin. That's nothing to sneeze at. So this is also bolstered by this. This is Fidelity's, and I'll leave a link to this in the chat as well. So this is Fidelity's actual report. Bitcoin's role as an alternative investment. This came out October of this year by Ria Batoria. He's the director of research over there at Fidelity. And I'm not gonna go through all the details, but I did just want to point out some highlights. So they start off by defining alternative investments as an investment that provides exposure to non-traditional returns, i.e., not having, not just buying Vitsacks and chilling, right? And these returns come from assets that are not highly correlated with those that underlie traditional stocks and bonds. This is going to take the form of, new investments such as venture capital, which is broadly where we're at here in cryptocurrency, art, real estate, farmland, all of these kind of things that individuals would purchase in lieu of traditional stocks and bonds. These assets provide unusual risk exposures, so you can, because they're uncorrelated, you can hedge experimentally, very interestingly. But they just offer lots of different opportunities and ways that you can actually have or hold or get exposure to this asset and generate non-traditional payouts, right? They use the example of collateralized debt obligations, which actually, taken in the vein of institutional Bitcoin, it's almost exactly what's going on in DeFi right now, where you have these loans, because you have these liquidation bots and you have these liquidation hunters over there on the Ethereum blockchain, and you have essentially debt that's being created, particularly through the MakerDAO application, the largest app over there on the Ethereum blockchain. And it occurs to me that what's really going on, we call it liquidity mining, but really we're trading the derivative of debt further down the line, right? So the idea of mining for liquidity or mining for these governance tokens, it all starts with where's the original value, where's the original capital? Well, it's in Ethereum. Well, then Ethereum is exchanged for tokens, DeFi tokens, or any kind of token, or NFT art, for example. Those tokens are then locked up to a certain degree. And then an individual gets a new token or a new product or something that they can trade or utilize out of that transaction. So what you're really doing is you're exchanging the collateral of your value, the debt value of your original collateral that is locked up in a smart contract, and you're trading that debt instrument further down the line. And it's really not a stretch to think that we could end up with something. For those of you who've seen The Big Short, for those of you who are familiar with the 2008-2009 financial crisis, when the markets crashed due to these massive debt structures, these massive debt securities, these debt-laden securities, and of course the credit default swaps. Of course, the try from the insurance companies to cover all of this debt. So this is interesting. I think a lot of people, particularly, I think a lot of individuals who are involved in Bitcoin right now may not be taking this approach, or may not be thinking of their investment in that way, or be thinking about what's going on in this way. Rationale for allocating to alternatives. So it says here, investors may use alternatives to fulfill one or more roles in their portfolio. Diversification, reducing risk, enhancing their returns at the end of the year, or to generate yield or income. And then we talk about portfolio diversification, which, I want to touch on this. So MPT, it's modern portfolio theory, argues that investors can design a diversified portfolio of investments that generate maximum returns while minimizing unsystematic risk. Now, I don't believe that this is true whatsoever, because the market is inherently irrational. One of the key reasons they say here for including alternatives in a portfolio is to increase your diversification by allocating to assets or investments that are driven by different risks and return forces relative to traditional investments, and thus are imperfectly correlated. So kind of like, it's kind of like if you grew your own food in your garden, right? And you knew that you had some drought coming in that was going to affect your corn crop. Well, you would want to be planting or planning for your supper, not, foods that are uncorrelated with the drought relative to your corn. So something that is drought resistant. Or potentially something from the other side of the garden that hasn't been affected by the drought or plague or blight or bugs or pests or anything like that. If you know that you've got risk or danger in a certain area, well, you want to protect yourself by allocating your energy, your time, your investment, your money into something that's less risky or at least uncorrelated, right? So we finally get to the rationale for allocating to Bitcoin. And it says here, similar to the normal rationale for allocating to any alternative investment, portfolio diversification and to enhance your return. Additionally, the interest in Bitcoin and other non-yield generating alternative investments could also increase in response to the Federal Reserve cutting their benchmark interest rate to 0 this year. In a world where benchmark interest rates are near, at, or below 0, the opportunity cost of not allocating to Bitcoin is higher. Basically meaning that any money that you don't allocate to something that's going to outpace inflation is just going to be burnt money in your pocket. Interestingly enough, let me see if I can get into it. So I read the Pomp letter. I don't know if you guys read old Anthony Pompliano over here. Second. Here we go. So interestingly enough, so here is this is Anthony Pompliano's Substack, and he says here, this came out October 15th. This was yesterday's letter, and he says here, I sent an email last night to a group of friends across different industries, but he wanted to share this letter, and he says basically in here, the Federal Reserve has cut interest rates to 0%. They plan to keep us in a zero rate environment for the foreseeable future. Multiple stimulus packages in 2020 now total more than $3 trillion in quantitative easing, with another $2 trillion on the way. The Fed's balance sheet has expanded by 75% since the start of this year. And although there is a strong argument that this quantitative easing will not lead to higher inflation because of the current deflationary environment, the Fed has publicly committed to sustaining a 2% plus inflation level. Wall Street has woken up to the Bitcoin trade. And yeah, so this is just kind of highlighting why that information of increased institutional investment is just bullish, saying here that the increase in demand is not only happening with traditional asset managers. So this is not just your traditional pencil pushers who are managing portfolios, but this is what's really interesting and what's really unique here is Bitcoin being picked up as a reserve asset for companies' reserves. Like that is huge. That is a delineating factor. And that's very, very, very important. Leave 2020, thank you so much for joining us and joining the community over there on Twitch, my friend. Highly appreciate it. So, you know, Fidelity and Anthony Pompliano's kind of foretelling here just goes hand in hand. But I want to just underscore the most important factor here. This is Fidelity Investments officially recommending to their clients that they have Bitcoin in their portfolio. The potential for this and the strength of this over the next 5 to 6 months is quite incredible. All right. Now, earlier we got a request. Somebody asked, what was TD sequential looking like on traditional markets? Take a look. All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to be looking at the SPY ETF, the S&P 500 index, the volatility, S&P 500 index, the VIX, and the DXY, the US dollar currency index. So we'll start off here with the S&P 500 index on the weekly. What do we kind of want to notice here on the weekly? After the March meltdown, price has marched since March to form its previous high, current high at 3588.1. Price is currently forming a slightly bullish but neutral doji, which indicates consolidation or equality of forces between the buyers and the sellers at a slightly lower price, meaning we could see a swing failure pattern out of this. Swing failure pattern would be confirmed when we actually take out this low. I would be more aggressive here. I would certainly be looking to take a short if we traded below this weekly low right here. Let's see. Of course, we are at these highs. Now, let's look at our trend here. See the same thing here on the weekly that we saw with Bitcoin. After a high was put in, we do have that pullback to that 21 weekly exponential moving average with that continuation buy signal coming in on last week's candle close. Here's that sell signal or exit signal, beautiful right here, catching this downwards movement. Parallax is bullish. Minx is actually suggesting more upwards movement here on the SPY, indicating that we're not quite that oversold. ISIS bot, no bearish divergence here, just confirmation, just convergence. We have a lower high in price and a lower high on the oscillator. No sell signal either. No sell signal. So we actually can continue moving here. So completed TD setup here with a 9 count, reversing. We've got a 2 of 9. If we close that weekly, that's a weekly buy signal on a 2 of 9. That's why the dollar symbol is right there. And we have not, yeah, we haven't completed a setup either. We're just starting it. We're on a 3 of 13. So, the SPY is actually a suggestion that we can continue to push here. Let's go down to the daily and see if we have a good entry area based on that. Yeah, here's the daily ISA spot sell signal right here. We gapped down here on the very next day, so this would be yesterday. And today we're actually pushing up, trying to get back above. I would be still playing this area for the shorts. If we are able to take out this high right here, 35.30, then I would be looking for that continue. Daily PTP had us long here, pullback, and then again, continuation on today's daily close. So we would have here, we'd have an average entry price here. We'd be slightly underwater with an average entry price of about 35.17. So I am actually going to wait until this rejects, and then I'm going to consider, I'm not going to hold a position over. We'll look at this on Monday. Looking at the VIX here, we can see, again, nice tightening consolidation right here. I would like to see some expansion of this volatility. Where are we at here? We've got our EMAs in consolidation mode. Overall, I think as long as the VIX stays above 16.3, you know what? Still a mass. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we are going to see volatility rise in this area. But I wouldn't be too impatient for it. Yeah, so, looking at this inverted hammer and looking at this follow through right here, bearish engulfing, this, this does suggest actually that I think the VIX is going to rise broadly from this area, but not necessarily right now. Still going to languish. And kind of rounding that out with the Dixie. So here we have our weekly. The only thing that's concerning here about the Dixie is, so here's the 1355 moving average cross under right here. So there's kind of that penultimate sell signal. And again, right at the 200 EMA support on the weekly. But screw that support. Price fell all the way through there. And now we have the 21 EMA overhead as resistance. Unlike in our previous examples with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and literally everything where it's acting as. So we do have the 21 EMA acting as resistance here for the Dixie. If we can actually get above that, so that's at about 94.742. If we can actually get above that, I'll feel more confident about the dollar here. Because so far, we have had that nice reversal as we were expecting here on the dollar, and we are trying to form a higher low. So as somebody that has a lot of long exposure on the dollar, looking for that dollar kind of surgence here, I really need this to be a nice swing failure pattern or double bottom. I don't need it. It would certainly be nice. Go on the daily and see if that's something that could possibly happen. 1, 2, there's that 3 drives pattern. I don't know if you guys see that, but 1, 2, 3 does lead. And you can either market buy as soon as you take out the closest high, or you can buy the pullback, but either way, that trade leads to this. And just getting from the high to the lowest low. We actually get out of that. We got a 0.272. Try one up. $1.382. Yep, almost nailed that. Certainly got that 1-to-1 trade. All right, with that being said, let's get over here. Lewis Michael Harold says, let's moon it. I'm mooning right now. I'm surprised we're not mooning Bitcoin's price right now. Bflow says, how would I play another parabolic move like 2017? Would I try to throw a dart at a price to hedge from or wait for a significant pullback? So hold on, let me make sure I unpack those properly. I'm already hedged. I recommend individuals to hedge at around the 11.7 area, around the 11.6, around the 11.5. When we were topped out several days ago, I recommended individuals to hedge there. So I certainly wouldn't throw a dart at price. I would hedge in the area that I felt I should hedge from, or that my strategy told me I should hedge from, or wait for a significant pullback. So we can talk about that concept. Like theta is a good, theta gives me a good opportunity to talk about that. So with theta, for example, we wanted to get in that short position. We wanted to get in this short position on theta, but yeah, so theta is a good example of this. So let's look at the 4-hour here on theta. Essentially, once we see that price has failed our long, right? We tried to take a long from this area and it failed on us. So now we see, we kind of zoom out and we see what we talked about with theta earlier, right? That massive crowning, those two hanging man candles with follow through at the bearish engulfing. On the daily, we can see a little bit more of that with price finally starting to break down, forming a lower low. And so now we're like, okay, well, now we need to get short on this, but we don't necessarily want to short when price is bottomed out, right? We don't want to short support. Now we have to wait for price to pull back and correct, ideally to about 0.71, 0.45, giving us a more optimum entry on that. So there's a couple pros and cons to this. So the pro of waiting for a better price is that you get a better price. The con is that sometimes you'll miss the trade. So, you just have to kind of run your stats and you'll know from trading your strategy and trading the markets that you'll trade, what kind of behavior you can expect out of this particular movement. And you'll kind of develop your own strategy and your own feeling for it as to whether on average or not you optimize for a better price with limit entries, which I don't often do, or whether you just decide to market enter and don't miss the trade. Philly says, Mr. Bloomberg will get in touch when it's appropriate to his whim. Mid sensors, RN robot mishaps, less systemic attached. That said, I didn't build the ramparts of GBP towers without a brawl at the hawk of my mind. Dyslexic, not stupid, and super wadded Philly. Hashtag reasonable moral compass. I like that. Reasonable moral compass. Blue box, a big bowl of drought-resistant corn. It's what's for dinner, man. David Rice, be good, my friend. Jordan Stotts asked what Parallax was set to. So when I'm looking at the weekly time frame, I talked about this earlier. I actually had it set to 30, 33, and 3. Bring that back on the daily, we get good results as well. Yep, 30, 32, and 2. Yep. Interestingly enough, here on theta, if we look at Parallax, we get that long signal back here on the 12th of September. And that carries us forward until we actually got that sell signal yesterday on the 15th. The continuation sell signal for Minx actually came in right here on the 14th. Just like beautiful. Bflow says, I'm talking like when it gets to 50K. Oh, well, so what I'll do is the same thing I did back in 2017. And what I kind of pointed out here. So let's look at Bitcoin's price appreciation. So here's the March meltdown, right? So this is February of 2020. So here's the March meltdown. We correct about 50 to 60%. Okay, big moves. And then we have just a mind-shattering 200% rally. Okay, and then what do we see here? Do you notice that? So following the March meltdown, just notice the size and color of the candles. all bullish, all bullish, all bullish. Weak red, weak red, weak red, weak red, green, 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 weak. Oh, strong red candle. So a strong red weekly candle, high volume, bearish engulfing indicates a lot of selling has occurred, right? And whether or not that's going to have the follow through that will move the market down, as in shift the trend, I don't know. But it's certainly a good time to take profit and be cautious, because we're either entering into a period of consolidation because a large position holder just took profit, and now individuals are going to try and squabble for the best price that they can get in and get out. And then, of course, you've got market makers making the market. You've got automated traders trading this range. You've got individual traders trying to take advantage of this. It all gets a little crazy. But if price were to explode, if price above 12,000, I'm going to be long on it. And again, I hold Bitcoin as well, so my trading account is segregated from my investment account, which helps. It really does help psychologically to have those two separated. But as far as hedging, I would just wait until I see price get hammered, basically. So if price runs from 20,000 and it hits 30,000 and it's going, it hits 40,000 and it's going, these things are going to take quite a while on the weekly time frame. And whenever I see a massive amount of selling indicated on the weekly, well, that's an area where I'm going to step out of the market, wait for the trend to resume, and pick my bets. Jordan Stats, Mr. I, good to see you. All right, let's take a brief look at Forex real quick before we get into our second topic for the day. So talking about our open positions. We are still short the Australian yen. We've been short the Australian yen for a little over a month now, so really catching the top of that market. Bring up ISA spot here and bottom feeder and all our tools. So we had that TD setup right here, followed by that 2 of 9. What was our, actually on the Australian dollar yen, our entry price was $76.4705. Yeah, so almost like we had just entered right here on this retest. So we did enter on this 2. We entered on this week right here. And we just had some beautiful follow through here. Price did pull back to our entry, and we held after hitting our first take profit. And we're looking actually for this to really, I am anyways, looking for this to really perform much more significantly. The Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie was a smaller risk position that I had recommended the other day. I believe it was my first signal after returning. But here's the entry right here at 1.65.74. Sell limit up here at 1.66.5. We're almost there. Haven't quite made it yet. 2 of 9 on the daily. Got this one. Euro pound, we are in our long-term shorts on as well. Or excuse me. Euro pound, we are long on. Excuse me. Euro pound, we are long on. Yep. So here's the entry, and looking for that. Looking for this setup right here. Nailed that entry yesterday. Nope, nailed that on the 13th, so several days ago. Didn't quite make it to our first TP yet, but we are in profit above our entry. Pound yen and the pound dollar, we've been in long-term shorts on these. Long-term longs on the dollar Canadian dollar. All right, so let's move on to our second topic here today, guys. All right, so our second topic today is going to be on OKEX. So that's get these pulled open. Okay. A lot of links. All right. So today's big news is going to follow bigger. I like it. All right, so today's big news is going to be following weeks of what seems to be crackdowns by international financial authorities into the cryptocurrency industry. We have certainly been seeing a lot of these recently. So reports are coming out of the Chinese crypto community today, indicating that the OKEX founder has been arrested, that he was arrested a week ago, and that he is allegedly allegedly arrested for money laundering charges. And he has not been seen since he was arrested by the Chinese authorities. Now, OKEX is, to the best of my knowledge, has suspended withdrawals in light of this. And the reason why they have suspended withdrawals is because they are, I don't know whether, and we're going to get into this in a second, but essentially, because the individual that was arrested was a key holder to a degree. So they need his verification, they need his access to be able to access funds. So let's go look at their official blog post, make sure that I am. All right, so here's OKEX's official blog post. It says, one of our private key holders is currently cooperating with the Public Service Bureau in investigations where required. We have been out of touch with the concerned private key holder. As such, the associated authorization could not be completed. So due to blah, 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 we're going to suspend and terminate service at any time without prior notice. We're going to suspend digital asset cryptocurrency withdrawals as of today. Security of your assets is fine. Apologies for the inconvenience. We just can't access your funds right now. So here's OKEX claiming that the funds are currently inaccessible, and it's because one of the private key holders for their multi-sig setup is out of reach. But additional reports seem to clarify that the individual in question is, in fact, the founder of OKEX, Xu Mingxing, or Xu Mingxing, excuse me, who is, as they admit here, said to be cooperating with authorities with regards to their investigation. So, you know, the crypto Twitter particularly has been a buzz about what this means for the industry and whether we can attribute today's price slide to the FUD surrounding OKEX. Now, according to data from crypto tracking service Whale Alert, 1,995 Bitcoin, that's about $22.5 million, was sent from Huobi to OKEX shortly after OKEX officially announced. So let's see here. And, you know, so of course the scuttlebutt is, you know, Huobi, why would you send such a massive amount of Bitcoin to OKEX so that it could just ostensibly be locked away during this fiasco? You know, users insisting that really the funds should go the other way. It should be OKEX sending funds to Huobi. So the negative speculation then would be that the funds are not actually SAFU whatsoever, and that OKEX needed to be bolstered or hit with some fresh funds to keep their operation afloat. That this is not a lack of access, that this is actually a lack of having. So CZ, of course, chimed in, reassuring users that similar events could not take place at Binance, stating that their exchange has a full redundancy structure that if anyone becomes unreachable, funds are not stuck. Well, good for you, CZ. Going on to say that even in the earliest days of Binance, efforts were made to make sure operations were not dependent on him, as he does travel extensively. And of course, we're all familiar with the Canadian crypto exchange meltdown, and of course, Mr. going missing. Have a good weekend, Mr. Unicorn. Highly appreciated. So in this tweet, CZ attempts to explain how Binance does not have a central point of failure and everything is secured behind threshold multi-sig technology with no central point of failure. Threshold multi-sig technology, by the way, is almost, if I'm reading him right and if he means what I think he means, you know, essentially their own implementation where they're trying to copy Snort. So that's 22 million in Bitcoin moving from Huobi to OKEX despite the withdrawal freeze. 2 transactions, 998 BTC and 997. Now let's see here. So according to OKEX's on-chain metrics here, they have 234,819 Bitcoin in their cold wallet, 7,171 Bitcoin in their hot wallets, 34,000 in their deposit wallet, 14,029 hot wallets, 54 cold wallets, 350 Bitcoin, Kraken, 511 from Binance to OKEX, from Huobi to OKEX. Yeah, that's quite interesting. 9 hours ago, 7 hours ago, 126. 3 hours ago, OKEX finally sent to Kraken, maybe so that they can get some of those altcoins. This is concerning, guys. I'm not going to lie. We got to kind of keep our eye on this one. So, obviously with last week's regulatory troubles concerning BitMEX, including an indictment of their top executives, couple that with the moves of international regulators in recent weeks, this certainly has us wondering. Are we seeing international regulators actually edging toward crackdowns on a lot of these altcoin exchanges? Again, not necessarily trading Bitcoin, but trading altcoins. That's really where the issue is. So we'll see. It seems almost undoubtable though that regulators have their sights set pretty firmly on major players in the space, such as the centralized exchanges. So, obviously they just want to take the current puppet masters out and install their own. But this is why we got to be really supportive of privacy adoption technologies, of things like Taproot, of things like Schnorr signatures, of things like Ethereum, where we can actually access these financial services, where we can actually transact the way that we want to without centralized authority. So decentralized exchanges, we certainly need to be supporting them. That's the reason why I haven't sold my Uni. I took my Uni and I'm going to stake it because I do want to support the Uniswap exchange. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Do you guys think OKEX is insolvent? Do you guys think that they actually have the funds? Have they been hacked? Have they been breached? What exactly are they cooperating? What is their founder cooperating with the authorities for? And exactly what are those conversations that are being had? Now, I'm just going to touch on this real quick before we bounce to our last thing. And I just wanted to give some more thoughts on Taproot. So we talked about Taproot yesterday. Again, Taproot is an improvement to Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Core client. It is going to allow us to have some better privacy by default features and allow us to have some more nuanced smart contracts, as well as it's going to make transactions leaner, meaner, and potentially greener. So a couple words we need to understand and talk about. The first is pay to script hash, right? So there have been different ways of creating transactions. Pay to pub key hash, pay to pub key, pay to script hash. So pay to script hash allows us to do smart contracts because you can write scripts into a Bitcoin transaction. And those scripts can say things like, well, I'm going to send this 10 Bitcoin onto the blockchain. And instead of it normally going to the recipient address, it's got a time lock on it. So it's just going to sit there in the ether on the blockchain and not actually appear in the recipient's address until a certain amount of time has gone through. Multisig is also an example of a pay to script hash smart contract. Where we need multiple signatures in the signature line for a transaction to be complete. Different kind of implementations of different pay to script hash types of smart contracts and transactions with Bitcoin that we have. So essentially, if we think of the script that contains the smart contract details as wrapping and holding the Bitcoins on the blockchain until such time as the conditions to allow the spending to occur, either multi-sig or time lock or what such have you. Those coins are held in that script until those conditions are met. And when those conditions are met, the transaction on the blockchain goes to the recipient, and we actually get to see into that pay to script hash. We get to see into that script, and we get to see all the potential conditions that could have been met to make those coins be spent. So say, for example, I used this analogy yesterday. I send my employee, say my employees are antsy about receiving their payment. So I send a pay to script hash transaction with their address with a time lock that says, hey, here's the Bitcoin, here it is on the blockchain, it's going to your address after such and such time has elapsed. Let's say payday. But let's say I also say that, well, if you guys really, really need it and you have to hit the emergency button and you don't want to put money on the credit card, you can use this secret code to actually redeem the funds earlier. So those are two potential conditions that could be utilized to actually make those coins go from the blockchain to the recipient. Now, the problem is when a pay to script hash spend occurs, on the blockchain is recorded all of the possible ways in which those coins could have been spent, which can reveal information about what wallet you utilized or information about your business. You could get, social media opt, lots of just not fantastic for privacy. And it can't actually, it's not a small thing. It can be a huge thing. So this leads us to Mast, right? Which other blockchains have tried. Merkel abstract syntax trees, which is a different way to create transactions in a Merkel tree. So essentially, instead of putting all of the different conditions together and hashing them so that you just get the P2SH hash on the blockchain until the conditions are revealed, with Merkel tree, you hash each individual way in which those coins could be spent. And those individual hashes make up the roots of the Merkel tree, right? You have to kind of think a little geographic for this one. And all that goes on the blockchain is the hash of the root, right? The Merkel root. So all the different, you can think of like, roots on a tree or branches of a tree, all the branches are the different conditions. And as they soak up, they get to the root of the tree, the actual top or the bottom in this case. And only that Merkel hash, the root hash is what goes on the blockchain. The nice thing about this is that when a spend condition occurs, the information that's revealed on the blockchain is only about that particular condition. It doesn't reveal the details of the other potential conditions. So that's a step better. But with the new Bitcoin improvement protocol or proposal that we're going to be pushing through over the next year, we're going to be introducing Schnorr signatures to the Bitcoin Core implementation. And that allows us to do something a lot better, because Schnorr signatures allows us to combine multiple different signatures into one hashed signature, and we don't have to reveal any information about any conditions, which we'll get into here in just a little second. The other thing that Schnorr signatures allows us to do is tweak and modify our public and private keys as they appear on the blockchain, right? So this is pretty powerful, but the big takeaway is that what we can do is we can write a complex smart contract transaction, and we can hash the signatures, all the potential conditions via Schnorr, and on the blockchain, it will just look like a regular average Joe Alice to Bob transaction. Won't look like there was any, won't look like there was anything that was not a simple transaction there. It won't look like there was a smart contract transaction there. Now with Taproot takes this one step further. And Taproot basically says, if the conditions to spend the coins are cooperatively met, meaning the conditions laid down by the sender are followed by the receiver, and the coins are, let's say, considered or received collaboratively. So in the case of the time lock for my employees, they just wait until payday and then they claim their funds. They don't hit the emergency button. Let's say if they hit the emergency button, that's like a non-cooperative resolution to the transaction. So as long as the resolution to the transaction is cooperative, what I just said goes. The Schnorr signature obscures any smart contract details, doesn't even reveal that any condition was met, and it just looks like a normal transaction on the blockchain. But if a transaction is non-cooperatively settled, then what happens is the tweaks that were made to any of the public or private keys are then revealed, so that we can see that somebody didn't play by the rules, somebody violated the rules here. Again, we still only reveal in that extreme the one condition that was met, the non-cooperative condition that was met, and so we're still a whole lot better. So these are drastic improvements to privacy. These allow us to do all kinds of smart contract implementations. These allow us to do just a whole lot on Bitcoin without needing layer 2 solutions, although layer 2 solutions are going to grow and scale vis-a-vis the Lightning Network right along with us. So I just wanted to take some time to talk about Taproot and the new Bitcoin improvement proposal. Let me know you guys' thoughts on that as well. Certainly like to hear your ideas and theories. And with that being said, we're going to head back to Actually, we're going to go to the charts. We're going to take a look at gold and silver real quick. All right. All right, so here we are, starting off with gold. Unfortunately, gold is just not in an area where I really want to do any sort of trading on this, except, unfortunately, to short it. So let's go to the weekly. We have bounced down to that 21 exponential moving average, that area that held as support. Losing the 21 EMA, I do expect price to come down here to the 55. 17.18 is a good correction for gold, I do think here. However, seeing a pullback in a bullish asset, price pulling back to that 21 EMA, this would have been an area where we could actually take a long. Again, not going to be mad at you. Let's look and see what Minx is actually suggesting here on the weekly. We're actually getting that continuation cross-up signal right now. If this week closes the way that it's going to this evening, then that's going to be a potential continuation signal. But again, Parallax not confirming that. But we are above the 21. Again, depends on how much you guys want to jimmy this. Certainly get this. We can certainly get this like this. But I am going to revert that. All right. But just again, overall consolidation area, I think on Bitcoin, pullback after a nice run to the upside. The logical kind of trend following strategy is to look for the long. But if we actually start zooming down to the daily, we'll see that we're not really in a super attractive position to do that. Let's see what Ichimoku is suggesting here for gold. Finding support on the Tenkan above the Kijun. And again, the Ichimoku cloud suggesting that we are in an uptrend. So not a whole lot here. And validations for kind of weekly positions would actually be all the way down here at like 1760. All right, so let's go to the daily. Daily's actually crossed into the cloud with the Tenkan Kijun cross under. Notice the Chiku spawn is underneath price and is pushing up at the bottoms of price, meaning that we are trapped underneath resistance. Looking at our daily EMAs, we're consolidating right around that 55. Our bands have tightened, and I think they're gonna slink under here. I think they're gonna slink under. The more I look at this, I actually kind of see gold positioned here for this. Look at ISA spot here. We were just coming off of this buy signal on ISA spot back here on the 29th of September in conjunction with bottom feeder. That was a bad bottom feeder, but this and this one was good. TP there. Higher low, higher low. Yeah, you know what? Gold. I want to wait for more confirmation. But I think I might take I'm going to take a long position on gold come next week. I need to see 1876 hold. See 1876. If I do. Let's actually call that, yeah, 1876, but we're going to be a little bit more conservative. We're going to see 1890 hold. I want to see 1890 hold. If we can do that, there. All right, so look for liquidity. Yeah. Okay. So assuming assuming that price either A holds this level right here, $1,900 level. If gold holds here in the $1,900 level, then I'll buy the next sign of strength, the next price moving up. Otherwise, I'll look to see if we get a reversal in that 1890 area. But I'm only going to be looking to take price up to 1903 and 1908. I'll let the runner run to 1916. Other than that, bets are off. But if we don't do that, which I'm kind of worried that we won't, if we do not do that, then we're probably going to come back down and retest. Silver, more bullish in my estimation, though. Quite honest. Again, nice pullback to that 21 EMA, currently holding it as support. I would be cautious below 2303. Parallax. So this is looking very much like the gold chart. We do have that continuation cross here potentially on this weekly close from silver. Parallax though has flipped bearish. Let's check with Ichimoku. And holding the Tenkan here. We have a twist. That's all the way down there though. Probably, if anything, hit this twist, which is right where the Kijune's at. The cloud is bullish, and the Chiku spawn is far above price. So we are in an uptrend. We're in an uptrend. Now, do we have eminent signs of reversal? We had that completed TD setup right here. We're on a 5 of 9, however, in the midst of a bottom feeder signal that is suggesting price to 26. So let's see if we can get a daily entry on that. There's the ISIS spot sell signal, pretty much right here at the top of the silver market. Yeah, get in here on that bottom feeder. Not yet. See what happens when we come back in for next week, but I certainly want to see this area hold. Liquidity's already been grabbed. We're probably looking to just take price back up to 20. But we'll just wait and see. We'll just wait and see what we can get here. 4 hour. We're not really primed for a good entry here. You're looking for opportunity. Watch that 23, that 24 to 23, that entry there. Palladium on the weekly time frame is still in an uptrend. We do have that 13 setup right here, but no reversal yet. We're cruising nicely above all of our exponential moving averages, and they're all moving up. I think some parallax are bullish. Break super trend on the weekly too. Go down to the daily. See where our EMAs are. In danger of turning over here, in danger of a correction here on Palladium, at least down to 2263. That would be a higher low though, and I would like to try and pick Palladium up there. Good here on the daily. Got for our reversals. Here's that TD completed setup right here. And not the best signal from ISIS. Beautiful on bottom feeder here, catching this up. And nope, convergence. And nothing really here so far on Palladium. On the daily. This is neutral to me. I think we're going to have more downside on Palladium. So I would look to get Palladium around that 2264 and try to keep riding the uptrend. Platinum, on the other hand, choppy, consolidation-y, not really into it. You guys can see Platinum is just kind of hanging out here between the 55 weekly EMA and the 100 weekly EMA. We don't really have any strong indicative signs or momentum oscillators are stuck right in the middle. We're on a 4 of 9 with TD sequential, just nothing really indicative of price doing anything. On the daily, again, you can see those bands tightening. I think we are going to be in danger here. We got that 1355 cross under back here, although we did rally using that 55 as an entry area. Fantastic. So kind of looking for this to break down just like theta. So if we take out 858, take out today's low, look for the short platinum. And PTP would agree. PTP had a short here. First one, price pulled back to entry, and we don't have a continuation signal yet. All right, what do we got here? Blue Box asks, do I think that people will eventually be able to withdraw their funds from OKEX? No, I don't quite frankly know. If it's just as simple as the dude and they don't have the private key, well then yeah. If it's them being insolvent and this is the tip of the iceberg, well, then probably not. But you know, listen, I've met and talked and worked with some people that work at OKEX, and you know, they're a big company. It doesn't mean that they're not corrupt. They all are, but I think they've got quite a bit of reserve. That's thinking with your dipstick, Jimmy. When life gives you a dumpster, go smart. Top Hat asks, hi Justin, excuse my prying, but have I lost any money on recent trades? Let's take a look at the signal. All right, so the positions that I've put on this last, I have all right. So let's see if I can. All right, so let's get zoomed in here. So this is actually premium. But these are the manual trades that I've put on since I've been back, except for this, except for the BTC USDT. Sure, what's up? But the Ethereum USD, the Euro Dollar, the Euro Swissy, XMR XBT, and Theta BTC. We closed XMR XBT out because it was just not doing what we wanted. Similar with the Euro Swissy, and Theta BTC did hit the stop loss. So far this this month, down about 1% so far with my results for October, just for the manual trades that I've taken. Let's look at the trading journal correctly. Start rate. All right, BTC USD start rate. So we started off this month at 10.79. That. There we go. Yep. So BTC ROI 1.48% actually. No USD ROI so far, and 1.56%. So actually making money overall. Sorry about that, my sound being off. I'm a little away from my speaker here. Microphone, speaker, microphone, speaker. Come on now. There we go. There we go. Oh, Come on now. All right. And then, yeah, I've pulled the majority of all my money out of the altcoin markets. But I've got about $20,000 in altcoins. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm okay with those coins. Those are positions that I intend to hold. But yeah, that's the monetary value of that portfolio has been shrinking. And again, I saw this again in 2018. That's why I'm glad that I sold. And I put out that video kind of explaining that my Holochain, my Unibright, Flexicoin, other coins that I had bought and held. The larger positions that I had been holding, in some cases for almost a year for Holochain actually, and I still actually hold Holochain. Yeah, those I was able to do quite well on those this season. Didn't get too much of the DeFi craze. Got a little bit of it. But mostly, I mean, I'm not going to lie. My success this year and my success generally is mostly trading Bitcoin and Ethereum. Almost all my profit comes from Bybit, and I get good supplemental profit, I think, from trading on Binance. You can go back and check our historical results. But 2020 has been a really good trading year for me. 2019 was really good as well, but 2020 has been one of the best trading years that I've had. And I think the big things for me, big things that I noticed, if I had to contribute things to my success, it would be not waiting too long to get long. It would be trading pretty cautiously and always being willing to put a hedge on. And overall, I think I've traded far less this year than I did last year. And I think for that very reason, I think I've actually done, I think that's one contributor to me doing much better. Not much better. Yesterday was a good year. The bottom feeder bot that we're running has been absolutely incredible. So I've been running my trades through this as well. So this is the data going back to August 1st. But we'll just look here, the month of September. Here's the month of October. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 winning trades and 2 losing trades. And if we look at the trading journal, we have, that's 9% just on this automated strategy, and then 10% in unrealized ROI. So about 20%, ROI if I were to cash out the bottom feeder account. I've got 3 other strategies that are running that are slightly unprofitable, and 2 that are running that are moderately profitable. Those are kind of the experiment automated strategies that manual trading this month up in dollar terms about 1.48%. And my hedge isn't on here either. So and that's fine because this is the official signals, not necessarily my trading sheet, because I do have a few others. But yeah, I'd say this week has been kind of a mixed bag. We haven't had any huge winners as far as crypto goes, and I think that's pretty indicative of the broader market. There have been very few opportunities, and I think what allows me to be pretty calm about that is the pretty killer Forex positions that Alex was able to help me get. So thank you very much for asking, man. I appreciate that. I think 2021, I think I should have all the stuff in place by 2021. So by the end of the year, I should have the online trading academy done. We should have our online web platform built so people can trade automatically and subscribe to our strategies and have them traded automatically. Paper trading engine. About 5 proprietary strategies that individuals can subscribe to. And I think in 2021, I think I'm going to probably spend the first quarter, I think maybe at least 1 month, trading pretty aggressively intraday. I think, we'll do trading rooms for premium trading group members. We'll do 4 6-hour sessions, I think. Scale back on the show just a little bit. Top Hat says, I traded into Bitcoin Cash and out into chain, waiting to cash to profit on my strategy. How long? I ask myself. It's a pinch, I tell you. It's good, my friend. Good, my friend. I'm glad you're seeing success. Bitcoin Cash and Link have done some decent movement. All right. With that being said, let's look at. We're going to show the current results. Here's August. I got to get September up here. But here's August's results. This was my trading results. Actually, I want to thank Alex and Jason for this as well, because they contributed to the official signals in August. So raw ROI, 146.59%. Actual net asset value growth. So the actual growth of my portfolio in August was 34.8%. And then I don't know why it's not. There we go. So I'm going to link the August. And I'm going to link the September trading results. I just uploaded the September trading results. September not as good as August's, but total ROI of 46.51%, realized NAV growth of 14.24%, beat the market by 23% with 65% accuracy. And as opposed to August, I beat the market. We beat the market with a 32% alpha and a 57%. Position sizing matters, ladies and gentlemen. Position sizing matters. All right, so the last thing to do, I know we're doing a long show today. We're going to do our tutorial. Tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to be on the Mvrv. And so let's go to, actually, you know what? I'm going to be going to all right, here we go. Thank you, Spartacus. All right, so let's talk about Mvrv multi-time frame analysis. All right, so Mvrv shows us, it's a technical indicator that shows us how well Bitcoin holders are doing, or the holder of any asset really, but it's a Bitcoin metric. You can access it on Glassnode. You can access it on Santiment. There's a few other places I think you can access it, but I certainly look at Santiment. And the way that it calculates its metrics is it gauges the last time that a coin was moved and at what price. What was the price when that coin moved? So based on the time the coin last moved and the price that it was when it last moved, what is the price now? Is whoever sent that Bitcoin to that wallet address, that Bitcoin sitting there, is it in profit or loss, right? So assuming that somebody just bought off the exchange and transferred into their wallet, let's say they have a cost basis for whatever, $12,000, bought one Bitcoin at $12,000. And then here we are 5 days later, Bitcoin's price is at 12,500, they're in profit. Bitcoin's price is at 11,500, they're not in profit. So a positive Mvrv ratio indicates that holders are in profit, and a low or a negative Mvrv ratio indicates that traders are in loss. So interesting things to look at here is this is a contrary indicator, so you would want to trade it contrary. So when the ratio is positive and gets quite high, you want to be careful of a reversal because the market is telling you that many traders are in profit, and that is generally when traders will begin being incentivized to take profit. Sorry. Hopefully all that wasn't a no-duh. So if you have a large majority of the market that is in profit, likely they're going to take profit. So let's, all right, so here we have Bitcoin, and we are going to pull up the Bitcoin Mvrv. So in Santiment, you can access this by just pulling up a Bitcoin chart and then typing in here for metrics, Mvrv. And what we want to do is we want to add the 1 day, the 7 day, the 30 day, and the 60 day, right? So we want to look at the Mvrv across multiple different time frames. We want to do multi-time frame analysis if we're going to be using this as an entry trigger. So, and again, as with most things, the 1 day and the 7 day are going to indicate kind of what the shorter term or what traders in the last week or day, how they're doing. And the 30 and 60 day are going to show, holders for the last month or two, how they're doing. So when we look at the first thing I want to do, let's look at all these. So I just have price going back to about April 2020. So just looking at short-term Mvrv, and of course the green line is price. So if you look at the 60-day Mvrv, we can see that it is in the negative. So 0.969, all right, indicating that individuals that have bought and hold Bitcoin for the last 60 days are on average at a loss, so not at break even at 1. So that's worrisome. It's not extreme. In extreme, so extremes and negative Mvrv are actually buying opportunities, but they can also generate good sell side opportunities. So this is kind of like a moving average when you're trading the angle to determine trend. If your moving average is trending up, then you look to take the long. If it's trending down, you look to take the short. So very similar here with Mvrv. As we can see, the 60-day has been trending upwards, but again, it's kind of turned around and is now on the push to the downside. Similar for the 30-day. The 30-day almost had us back at break even, but now we're descending back down into unprofitable position. So the hook, the curve of the 60 and the 30-day kind of indicate that the overall profitability trend is to the downside. I would expect that to continue. Now, just because the Mvrv on the 30 and the 60-day is indicating that price is going to move down, that doesn't necessarily mean that right now is the opportune time to enter. We want to look at the 1 day and the 7 day to actually get our entry trigger for this particular type of strategy. If we look at the 7 day, we can see that this is ugly. I mean, the 7 day would have given us a beautiful entry. If we would have said, well, if we get, 2 consecutive days down, we'll take the 3rd day, right? Or if we get 3 down, we'll take the 4th one. But you can look at the 7 day is certainly telling here of the downside. And the 1 day is overall, as you can see, individuals that have held and bought Bitcoin for 1 day, they're down today, but you can see this tight consolidation rate that has, this right here, this chart is telling you that day traders on Bitcoin are not doing so well, right? You can see that these days right here, when we get these wild swings, those are days when day traders do well because you have an expansive volatility. So, so higher time frames can tell you when to pay attention. Higher time frames can tell you when to pay attention. Mvrv 30 and 60. And the lower time frames, the 1 day and the 7 day, can tell you when to actually go. All right. So based on my analysis, I see here that the Mvrv on the 60 is not in an extremely over profitable position, meaning that individuals holding Bitcoin are not in such profit that they are going to be forced to sell right now. However, we are beginning to move down and we are unprofitable, meaning that some individuals, we could see some cut their positions at a small loss. Similar for the 30-day. 30-day looks a little bit uglier here. And one trend that I would be remiss in not pointing out, let's go back. Well, let's get rid of the 1 day. Let's get rid of the 7 day. Let's actually get rid of price here. I'm just going to look at the 60-day Mvrv, right? We do have this trend line that we could draw right here. And I do want to point out kind of what happened the last time we had a situation. Santiment has got to move their chat bobble. It bugs me all the time. All right, let's see here. So it's not going to let me actually draw on the chart, unfortunately, I don't think. But never to fear. We just need a web paint application. All right, so okay. First thing I want to point out is this nice uptrend right here in Mvrv. Very nice consistent highs, and I know I'm not drawing beautifully, but you guys get the point. And again, we have the exact same thing here with our highs. Now we can see this nice downtrend acting as resistance. Where do we just come with the 60-day Mvrv? Again, rejecting from that resistance. We do seem to see about cycles of 3 on these. 1, 2, 3. This one actually gives us a 4th one and a 5th one, but we have 1, 2, 3 here and 1, 2, 3 potentially here. But notice that on that 3rd one, we do complete. So I would expect to see price move down on the Mvrv, form a lower low before we really see any turnaround. Similar here. Let's get rid of web paint. Much. 30-day Mvrv. And we'll get rid of 60-day here. 30-day Mvrv. Yeah, same thing. We really haven't been able to get into that. We are in profit on the 30-day Mvrv, excuse me. We are at 1.032. So that indicates that we're in very, very slight profit. So as price pulls back here to the median, overall traders aren't really going to be interested in taking any position based off of this because price is pulling back down to their entry, and they could, they're break even. So not huge signs to do anything. I would utilize here's the 7 in the 1 day. I want to get more recent price. Yeah. So the 7 day is certainly the more telling here. Let's actually take that 1 day off for just a second and look at that 7 day. So again, the 7 day has just dropped into unprofitability. We can go and map up these the 18th of March 2020 when profit was quite high at 1.157. When the this is May 2019. You guys will recall May 2019 is the area where we turned around last time, 1.141. Anytime we get these high areas of Mvrv, they are certainly market turnaround points and similarly to the downside. So we were just coming off a crest, not being extremely high in 7-day Mvrv, but up at 1.042. And now we've fallen back down into, we're not positive. We're at 0.9963. Moving into negative territory, I expect that to continue moving down as is the trend on the higher time frames as well, or the 30 and the 60 day as well. So I do expect, based on this indicator, to see lower prices. So that was kind of a long tutorial, but that's a way that you guys can use Mvrv to gauge whether or not the market is over or underheated, and whether it's a buying or selling opportunity, and kind of what the overall trend is. So let me know if you guys have any thoughts or questions about that. Let me know if you guys are able to utilize that in a strategy, or any thoughts or kind of correlations that you see with anything else. We'll kind of touch back on that in next week's community mentoring session for premium members. All right, with that being said, guys, that's about all I have for you guys today. I want to thank you guys for joining me for today's live stream. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them in the comments section. We highly appreciate them. Make sure to check out our website, krakencryptocurrency.com. If you guys are interested in any of the services that we offer, or if you guys are interested in improving your trading skills in our community, you can check out our premium trading group, our premium indicator suite, our online trading academy, our premium signal service, our mentoring services, both community and one-on-one, as well as our private Discord community where you get to hang out with the traders and us ourselves. Yes, good stuff. Really excited about this stuff coming out. And by the way, we're going to have some really, I know I've been saying this for a while, but I did quite a bit of work on the premium member onboarding. So that should be done. Hopefully, maybe I can have that done before Ben gets here. So I think get cranking on that. And automated signal strategies, in addition to bottom feeder, working on those as well. Got the pine code all busted out, got it shimmied down. Pretty proud of it. So you guys can also support us Over on this scene, if you guys have not already, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel over here on YouTube if you have not already. Even if you're watching us on Twitch and DLive, just head on over to yt.krakencryptocurrency.com, smash that like button for posterity. We highly appreciate it. If you're on Twitch or DLive, you can support us with a follow or a sub. Of course, if you got Amazon Prime, you can get us subbed on Twitch for free. You get free badges, free emojis, cool stuff. And the microphone decided to die on me. Next week, we're going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff, guys. I'm going to try to put out a pre-record this weekend with Ben. No promises, though, but definitely be following the Twitter account. You guys can follow us on Twitter, tw.krakencryptocurrency.com. But whatever you do, make sure to join us in the Discord, because that's where it's going down. Again, I've been Justin Wise for Kraken Cryptocurrency. I will see you guys on Monday. If I don't see you over the weekend, trade safely. We all are in this together. And again, be careful, guys. It is a tricky part of the market, and I want you guys to do well. So just sustain the profits that you've made so far and focus on preservation rather than aggression right now. Wait until Q1. We'll focus on aggression. So thank you guys so much. Cheers, guys.